The following program is paid for by Beyond the Pink Ribbon. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views of Urban One and its management.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Beyond the Pink Ribbon with your host, Nadia E. Miller. In a world where pink often symbolizes breast cancer awareness, this show stands as a beacon of hope and empowerment. With Nadia at the helm, we embark on a journey of resilience, courage, and unwavering determination.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Praise Indy AM 1310, The Light. My name is Nadia E. Miller, and I am your host for Beyond the Pink Ribbon, which airs from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. every Wednesday. We're here to light up your midweek. Look, can you believe it? It's Wednesday. We made it. We made it to Wednesday. Whew. But hey, before we dive in, let's connect. Follow us on at Nadia E. Miller on Facebook and Instagram. Click like or share so that you can be locked in to keep up with what we have going on during the week. Also, if you missed the live show on Wednesday, you can listen to all of the past shows on my website, which is www.nadiaemillerllc.com, or subscribe to my YouTube channel at Nadia E. Miller. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Pink Forever Ending Disparities, that made tonight's show possible. Pink Forever's mission is to eliminate breast cancer disparities for Black women through advocacy, education, research, and empowerment. As some of you may know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. The importance of Mental Health Awareness Month is helping people recognize the ways mental illness impact their lives, educate people about available services, and highlights ways to advocate even if they don't personally have mental illness. So in one way or another, during the month of May, here on Beyond the Pink Ribbon, we'll be talking about how to balance our mental health and wellness in our daily lives, starting with tonight's conversation on keeping the press while minding the perspective. So let's get into it. In a world filled with distractions and challenges, finding the balance between ambition and perspective can be a daunting task. But hey, fear not. For tonight, we're going to journey a little bit and self-discover and a little bit of empowerment. So, hey, if you're at home, grab some tea or some water, settle in. You're going to need to settle in for this one. If you're driving, try to focus a little bit on my voice and what I'm saying, because keeping the press while minding the perspective is some deep stuff. First, we've had to understand the dynamic. So let's start to unravel the essence of keeping the press. It's about maintaining momentum, staying focused on our goals, and pushing forward despite obstacles. But alongside this drive, we must also mind the perspective, the ability to see the bigger picture, appreciate our journey, and prioritize our well-being amidst the hustle and bustle of life. In order to do this, it's not always best to try to be the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. Depending upon where you are in your life, the challenges that you are facing, you have to choose to either be the butcher, be the baker, or choose to be the candlestick maker. But you're going to have to choose one of those. But I promise you, being all three will jack your balance up. So let me give you some strategies for balance. Let's explore some practical ones first. Finding balance in our lives from time management techniques. We talked about this before a couple of weeks ago, mindfulness practices. We've had guests on the show talk about how to breathe and how to take 2 beats. These are invaluable tips that we have to use to keep the press. You have to prioritize your well-being, remembering balance is not a destination but a journey. It's also a way and okay along the way to recalibrate. Now let's go a little bit deeper into these practical strategies that can help us find balance in our lives. We hear folks talk all the time about being very busy and being overwhelmed. And so we have to discuss time management techniques, right? In this fast-paced world, time can often feel like it's getting away from you, but it is one of the most precious commodities. However, if you implement effective time management strategies, it can optimize your productivity while still making room for self-care and, by God, have some self-care and relaxation. This may involve creating a simple to-do list. Sounds simple, but how often do we just sit down, write down a list, and once we're finished with that to-do list for the day, we decide we're going to check out and relax? I'm here to tell you tonight it's all right. Make sure you set some priorities, scheduling regular breaks to prevent burnout. Preventing burnout is real, and that's just not like it's work, church, home, school. It's all of that. You can get burnout in one of those areas or all of those areas if you are slow to your time management and not keeping that a priority. Mindfulness. We hear this word all the time. We talk about it, but it is so important. If a mindfulness practice, it can play a crucial role in maintaining balance. It involves just being fully present in the moment without judgment or distraction. Incorporating it into your daily routine. Like, make it a part of your day. Sometimes when you get up in the morning, it is simply okay not to do anything else until you tend to your mind. Some of us do that by prayer. Some of us do it by affirmation. Some do it by yoga. Some do it by just taking some breaths. But do something for you before you try to go give or do with someone else. This is how burnout sometimes happens. I don't know about you, but sometimes you leap out of bed and you start on your day and you're on your way. And the next thing you know, by 1 or 2 o'clock, you are spent and you don't know why. You forgot to take just that second for yourself. That's that balance. See, that's that part that makes you feel good inside when the day is over with and you can actually find some time to relax. But let's not forget, balance is not just about managing your time and stress level. It's also about nurturing your relationships and pursuing activities that bring you joy. Spending quality time with loved ones, your friends, your folds, your day ones. All of this is really important, and it is a part of managing your stress level. It's nurturing yourself. It's nurturing your relationships. Make sure the hobbies and interests and taking care of your physical health, these are all components of balancing while keeping the press and minding the perspective. Lastly, this is very important with this one. Now remember, what we're talking about right now is strategies for balance. And so one of the things that are important to remember in your balance is that it is not really about the destination. You got a journey. I said that earlier. You make sure journeying along the way. So it is really wise to try to strive to keep the press while minding the perspective. And you got to embrace practical things in order to find your balance. Remember, not about perfection. It's about excellence. It's about excellence. Now let's talk about this thing called resilience that we sometimes forget about. We hear these buzzwords. They've turned into buzzwords, right? Like everything is these quick sound bites, but no one really goes a little bit deeper to talk about that thing. So we're going to talk about cultivating resilience. Yeah, I see you all online. I'm talking about cultivating resilience. The ability to bounce back from adversity. It is a fundamental trait that empowers us to navigate life's challenges with grace and fortitude. Cultivating resilience is not only about weathering the storm, but it's also about finding strength and growth in the face of adversity. Cultivating resilience, it's essential to build strong support network. Again, remember, you really have to surround yourself with people, family members, mentors that can provide you with encouragement and guidance when you need to navigate difficult times. There is nothing worse, and I've said this before, and you know who they are, Negative Nathan and Negative Nancy, whom you are trying to articulate. You are having a difficult time, and they can't talk you up, but they can bring you down. These relationships, the good ones that you cultivate, can offer you a sense of belonging and connection that can actually bolster your resilience in times of need. Additionally, you have got to cultivate a growth mindset, and it's key. Rather than viewing setbacks as failures, I would like to look at them as opportunities for learning and growth. Reframe your challenges as stepping stones to success. You can develop a sense of optimism and resilience that keeps you persevering in the face of adversity. But this is a practice. This is not something that you just wake up and it just happens and you're able to do it, nor is it a judgment zone if you can't do it. What I'm talking about tonight is making sure that you strive to do it so that you can take care of you. Practicing self-care is another crucial component and an aspect of resilience. A lot of times people say, hey, I'm going to have a self-care Sunday. I'm going to have a self-care day. I would offer you that you also need to incorporate this as you would plan a vacation. Ensure that not only do you plan and practice your self-care, you do it. Because if you don't do it, all the things that we talked about are at risk. It's a crucial aspect of resilience. Taking care of your physical and emotional and mental well-being allows us to recharge our batteries and to face challenges with a renewed energy and resilience. You know, sometimes you might have a difficult day on Monday, but by Tuesday, you're brand new, your mind is fresh, you're feeling good. That's because probably, most likely, you took a moment to recharge that battery. And what happened the day before, it's no longer that bad. And so you can press. This may evolve in engaging in regular exercise too. You know, getting enough sleep is really a real thing. You mess around and get some sleep, you'll feel like a superhero. Practicing relaxation techniques. Remember, a practice is a real thing. Practice makes permanent. That's what it does. And when you practice things, they become muscle memory. You'll begin to do them automatically. And then it becomes a discipline. Seeking support. Also, we've had therapists on our show. We've had other folks that talk about this that have come on the show. I've talked about this, but this is just not, and I am not just a talking head. I would offer you to try it. And finally, resilience is nurtured through the cultivation of self-compassion. Treating ourselves with kindness. I've said that before. Be kind to yourself. Treating yourself with understanding, especially during difficult times. I'll tell you this. I do not let people tell me how to lace up my shoes and they can't fit them. They can't fit them. No one knows any idea what it is for you to be you and what you need to be you. I would also offer you this, all these opinions and all these voices, check them. Because they're not always about your well-being. It's about the individual that you're talking to and maybe their well-being or maybe just something for them to do. Treating yourselves with kindness and understanding is really important. It allows you to bounce back from setbacks with a greater ease by practicing some self-compassion. In conclusion, the cultivating resilience, because that's what this one is about, while we're keeping the press and minding the perspective, it is a lifelong journey that requires a dedication to patience and self-awareness. Make sure you build that strong support system, adopting a growth mindset. A growth mindset means that you are willing to adjust. That's what it means. It means we don't know everything. It means that when you have new information, you know new things, you do new things, you do better, you feel better. And you don't have to ask for permission to feel better. So as we continue to journey, keeping the press while minding the perspective, let us remember that resilience is not just about bouncing back. It's also about bouncing forward, stronger and more resilient than ever before. The next point, this is a good one. You got to embrace your journey. But before we do that, let's thrive together. By thanking our sponsor, one of our favorite sponsors, favorite partners, Pink Forever Ending Disparities, which is, I have the absolute pleasure of being the board president, an advocate, and I am just completely sold out to the work of this organization, this great organization. I want to highlight the fact that Pink Forever Ending Disparities was awarded from the Indiana Cancer Consortium yesterday during their conference, their Sustained Excellence Award, which is a big deal. So I want to congratulate Pink Forever Ending Disparities, its board members, its volunteers, and its supporters publicly for the work that we all are doing here in the Indianapolis community, it does not go unnoticed. If you are a breast cancer survivor, if you are a caregiver, if you just want to volunteer or want more information about that organization, their telephone number is 317-684-4944. The executive director is Lisa Hayes, and you can reach her in our office Monday through Friday. We are open from 9 to 3 p.m. We're located at 3901 West 86th Street. Feel free to drop by or drop us a line. You can also follow us on all of our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PINK, the number 4, Ever, EVER, Inc., INC. Thank you, Pink Forever, for making this show possible. Now, as we dive back through in this for just a couple of more minutes, I'm not going to be able to get through all of this tonight, but one of the things I want to jump right back into is embracing the journey. And that's any journey in this life. See, sometimes we kick against the prick, like life is happening and you're on this journey, and instead of getting in that thing, and I mean getting in the journey means 10 toes down, you are in whatever is going on. You got to get in it, because if you embrace your journey instead of kicking against the journey, you can pause a little bit and take it all in. As we come to the close of thinking about keeping the press while minding the perspective, you have to mind and keep in mind how you feel while you're doing what you're doing. Whether that is, again, at work, in relationships, church, home, or school, you really have to check in with yourself. It really doesn't matter about how people feel about the decisions that you have to make. If you are responsible for your home, if you're responsible for your children and your family, while you're keeping the press, you have to keep your mind. I always say, if you keep your mind strong, your body will follow. What good is it if you're all out of whack mentally and you're exhausted and you cannot fulfill the obligations that you have been gifted? Because, see, to be stewards over something is a gift. Everybody doesn't get that opportunity. Everybody doesn't have people around them that love them, or children, or good relationships. So once you cultivate those things and you're in your journey and you're journeying and things are happening, embrace those things that happen. Now, you can look at it one or two ways, like we talked about before. You can either decide that what you're dealing with and what you're going through is an opportunity, or you can decide that it is a setback. And either one of those things that you decide, or you believe, that's what it's going to be. So watch your words. Build your environment while keeping the press. And when you run up on negative Nathan and negative Nancy, you tell them you got stuff to do. You tell them you don't have time for that, because you're building your own world and your own atmosphere, and you're doing it with your words. So also being kind to yourself is saying kind words to yourself, not just to other people. You can always tell when someone is having a bad day based on what comes out their mouth. How you doing? I don't know how I'm doing today. Instead of just saying, I'm well. How are you? Good morning. Well, no, good morning to you. These are things that are so simple that will change your environment. It will change your atmosphere and what you have going on. But it has to be an intentional thing that you do. And it has to be a daily practice. Because whatever you practice is what you're going to show up as. So if you practice being negative Nancy, you are going to be negative Nancy. You're not going to be able to hide it. Now, that also will become muscle memory. And that is who you will become on a daily basis. But if we are becoming, now remember, becoming is better than just being. So as you are becoming who you are and shaping your atmosphere while you're keeping the press, while keeping the perspective, make sure you're watching what you're saying about your own environment. A book that we all read says that life and death lies in the tongue, so watch your mouth. It's important. Say those good things. Manifest those good things while you're keeping the press and minding the perspective. Because remember, you got to remember the big picture. And we're in this thing, and there's these moments that happen. but moments are fleeting. So remember the larger goal that is at hand. Remember what you're doing. Remember who you're doing it for. And then also remember it's okay to put some things down and put some people down while you're journeying. It's so important. And so as we come to the close of the show, you know my favorite part of the show is the power play.
I've got the power!
And so the power play tonight is going to be, remember our power play is how we advocate for ourselves week to week, so Wednesday to Wednesday. And so this week's power play is going to be that pause was because I looked over at my manager and said she gave me what our power play was tonight. And remember, we're live, so our power play is not only just minding your mind, but rejuvenating your mind. Rejuvenating your mind. Taking some beats during this week. It's Wednesday to Wednesday. Remember, that is your power play. Minding your mind. Rejuvenate your mind. Whatever that is. If you have to take a moment, take a couple moments. Don't just take one through the week. One moment is not good enough for the daily hustle and bustle and the rigors of life. So be sure that you do something to rejuvenate your mind. And so it has been my honor and pleasure to be with you all this evening. You know that. I want to thank you all for joining me for Beyond the Pink Ribbon. Be sure to keep the press while minding the perspective. Now, next week, we're having an entire total takeover. You'll hear about that. So please be sure to follow me on social media so you know who is taking over and what we will be talking about. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram at Nadia E. Miller. If you are interested in becoming a sponsor of this great show, visit our website at Nadia E. Miller, LLC. And I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thank you for joining us for Beyond the Pink Ribbon with your host, Nadia E. Miller. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Nadia E. Miller. Tune in every Wednesday for your drive home at 6 p.m. on Praise AM 1310 and 95.1 FM.
The preceding program was paid for by Beyond the Pink Ribbon.